A scary wake-up call for a New Haven man when a car crashed right through the wall of his apartment. And what makes this whole thing even more troubling, cars have hit that building where he lives 3 times over the past 3 years. News 8 went looking for answers today from the city about what can be done to keep those folks safe. News 8's Ken Pierce live at the scene of that crash with what he found out. Ken.
And Keith, here is what I found out, that the city of New Haven was working on putting a barrier in front of that building. They were just working on it a little too slowly to prevent this from happening. That gaping hole back there is from where a car plowed into 91 Winchester Avenue early this morning, and that's the 3rd time that has happened in the past 3 years.
It was around 2:30 a.m. when this Toyota slammed into a house where Webster Street and Winchester Avenue meet. According to police, the 27-year-old woman driving says her brakes failed. The car went all the way inside the ground floor apartment. The landlord says the sleeping tenant was trapped underneath.
The first floor tenant was under the car, and he's in the hospital. He just moved in March 1st.
Tenant and driver both ended up in the hospital. Neighbors were stunned for good reason.
This look a little familiar to you?
Yeah, it looked real familiar. It happened like maybe 3 years ago. Same thing, same house, same spot.
The exact same spot. In January of 2012, a man trying to get away from Hamden police smashed his girlfriend's BMW into that same wall, pinning a sleeping tenant underneath the car. And last year, there was a more minor crash. The landlord says the problem is speed.
The people, they're speeding up, they come drunk, they're under drugs, whatever.
Webster Street is on a steep hill. In the dark, as you're coming up that, you might not realize that you can't go straight at Winchester Avenue. Instead, you've got to make a little jog to go over where that police car is. If you do go straight, instead, you end up going right into this building, as so many cars have.
The landlord says the city planted a small tree to protect the building. That stump in the snow is all that's left of it now that the car ran it down. The local city alderwoman lives down the block and said she's working to get a proper barrier set up. The city's transportation director says in November they got a quote to build a guardrail in front of the building. They were going to start installing it as soon as the weather got warmer. The landlord thinks speed bumps or bumpers are the answer.
Wake up, New Haven mayor, please wake up and put the bumpers, put at least 3 bumpers. If you don't have money, tell me and I give you money and I put the bumper myself.
Now, the city engineer says that's not an option. Speed bumps would be too dangerous on the steep hill that is Webster Street. Instead, that guardrail should be installed sometime this spring. As for the driver and the tenant in there, both are expected to be okay. Police are still investigating. So far, they have not filed any charges. Live in New Haven, I'm Ken Pierce. Keith, back to you.